10 seconds for that one. Even though I could have just did this, but kind of forgot. So we're doing something a little bit different today. I guess this is going to be the first vlog, I guess, that I'm taking seriously. And we're going to try to be consistent this time. I say this time because there's been many times where I was going to upload or I uploaded, but I stopped being consistent with it. I guess I can give you guys a little bit of a backdrop, a little bit of a backstory on what happened. So when I first started making YouTube videos, I was living in California, and then I decided, hey, I want to go move to Vegas. I'm closer to the Strip. I feel like it's more of a chance for my brand to be noticed in Las Vegas when I could advertise and do videos on the Strip for entertainment purposes. You know, I could really put myself out there a lot easier in Las Vegas than I can in California. Now, truth be told, I don't know why I felt that way in the beginning, because now that when I look back, I was only an hour away from LA. Everybody's in LA. But at the same time, everybody's at the Strip. So it kind of it's one of those things. But to me, Las Vegas Strip is more appealing than a lot of things in LA. And plus, Las Vegas is for more of it's like, you know, adults, nothing but adults. So nothing but legal activity, even though there's a lot of illegal activity going on. But I think you catch my drift when I say legal activity. You know, you don't always have to ask, you don't have to worry about there being kids around. You don't have to worry about things going the wrong way. And if they do, you know, everyone's adults at the end of the day. I just feel like it's more, the Strip is just a lot of it was a safety route for me to take, because, you know, it's the Strip at the end of the day. Bitches with titties and shit. Okay, I'm sorry. But right now what I'm doing is I'm doing sort of like a skit for the intro of this video, actually. And it's going to make people mad, probably, because they're going to think that I'm taking the Black Lives Matter movement as a joke. But let me just give you a little bit of an idea of what the purpose of this video is. It's to show you that at any given time, I could flip the switch. And when I say flip the switch, I could get very political. I could describe my feelings towards the entire situation that's happening in any situation. And when I describe my feelings, I feel like it's very easy for me to speak for those who can't speak for themselves, because I'm one of those people who have a hard time speaking for themselves or speaking up for a situation that not a lot of people will speak up for. And in this particular case, I'm talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, and I kind of speak my mind on it. But at the end of the video of that little clip, it's kind of like a skit. It turns into a skit. I'm with my friends, and they're telling me to shut up. It's just another high thought, basically, because the point of this one is I get high, and then I start rambling on about how life is this, life is that, like a typical woke person or a typical hippie or a typical pothead. You know, they get into a different level of thinking, and then they tend to get lost in that thought. That's basically what I'm doing in this video, to give it a little bit of a funny edge, but to let the world know that I could take things serious when I want to. It's just, in this particular case, I'm not taking it too serious yet, because, in all honesty, there's not much for me to say. There's obviously a problem in the world. Right now, I feel like we're discussing cops killing black people after the George Floyd incident. That kind of blew up. And then there has been multiple murders of black people as of late. But that's not the only thing that's happening. There's rioting and there's looting. It genuinely just seems as if history is repeating itself. And that's where I draw the problem. That's where I see the problem. History, this should not seem so normalized. It was so normalized before. I think that we're finally starting to stand up for ourselves, and I feel like we're making more impact now than we ever have before. But I feel like somebody 30, 40 years ago was saying exactly what I'm saying right now. But still nothing has changed. All I know is that before, there was a debate about all lives matter and Black Lives Matter. And we finally came to the agreement that it's not just about, like, if you think that all lives matter if you think that saying Black Lives Matter is saying only Black Lives Matter, we can't have a discussion, because you're not understanding the point of the Black Lives Matter. I shouldn't have to discuss why Black Lives Matter. That's the problem. You shouldn't have to defend that with all lives matter. We know that. All lives do matter. We're not singling anybody out. If we are singling anybody out, we're singling out the black people in this situation, because they feel like they're being targeted. They feel like they're being killed. They feel like they're not being treated right. And they have every single reason to feel that way. Ever since slavery. and stuff hasn't it changed. Obviously there has been big change since slavery, but if we're going to be completely honest, there's still a bunch of injustice going on. There's still a bunch of problems with the system. And I don't like to use the word system because of how stereotypical and how I just sound like everybody else when I talk about the system. I don't even know what the system is. Is it the government? Most likely, that's what I'm assuming. But in all honesty, in my head, the system is basically just the word we all use to describe the world that we currently live in and the way that it is being ran. And Donald Trump isn't the only person who owns the world. He isn't the one telling these people, hey, go shoot the black people. Because it was happening when Obama was in the office. It was happening when Bush was in the office. It just keeps happening. The president of the United States, the leaders cannot tell normal human beings to stop being racist. Because we all have rights, I guess. But if you're white, I feel like you know about 2 or 3 people in your head that you could think of when I think of the word Karen. When I say Karen, you know a couple of Karens. And I'm not even trying to be funny. They're either being nosy, putting their nose into somebody else's business and trying to get involved because they have racist suspicion. They have their own racist suspicions on what that person's doing. I think his name was Ahmaud Arbery. I don't know the first name, but Arbery was in there for sure. That was racist. And we know that was racist. Black Lives Matter. The Black Lives not cry out for help, but them finally setting the tone. They finally set the tone. We're starting to see it. And what we're starting to see is all the racism. And it may be little encounters of racism. At the end of the day, racism is racism. You can't stab somebody with a knife and then say, hey, it didn't kill him. It barely even, it may have punctured an artery or something like that, but it didn't kill him, so it's not that bad, right? At the end of the day, I stabbed somebody. At the end of the day, that's a felony. I'm going to go to jail for that. You can't be a little racist and get away with that. At the end of the day, you being racist in 2020, how's that going for you? Being racist in 2020, how has that truly gone for you? I just want to know. Because it can't be fun. Same time, we're all entitled to our opinion. And I think that that's where the entitlement comes from. As a white person, you genuinely as you grow up, and you grow up in a family where they don't treat black people or Mexicans or Asians with the same respect they would treat a white person. And kids grow up to see that. Their parents doing that. So they grow up to be a little bit racist. I'm not even going to go as far as calling them racist. They grow up to see that racism, but because it's in their household, it's so normalized, they don't see the problem with being racist. Because to them, it's just another day. To them, it's just what the parents do. To them, it's just life. And as much as I would love to blame that kid, I feel bad for that kid. I've seen so many other kids, younger or older, stand up to their own parents. There's literally a video of this little girl standing up to her parents, getting into an argument with her parents over Black Lives Mattering. And you should have seen how pressed her parents were. At the end of the day, all I seen right there is change. The youth understands what's going on. They're going to adapt to what we do. So if we do the job correctly and we set the tone, they're going to take that tone to another level, and they're going to be the ones not to end racism, because at the end of the day, it's going to happen regardless. But we're going to set the tone, and they're going to take it to another level, to the point where by the time they have kids, their kids aren't going to be too familiar with racism. Racism is going to go from being normalized to, you said what? It's going to be a lot harder to be racist in 10 years than now. Just saying. And that's my stance on why I think that the world is changing. Because like I said, we went from arguing about which life matters most to a huge amount of those people in the All Lives Matter side joining forces with the Black Lives Matter movement to finally stop the problem in racism. Because racism, it starts with, it goes through the government for sure. But at the end of the day, it starts with us. It doesn't start with the government. The government has no control over racism.